Have you ever been in a meeting where you knew the loudest person was wrong and still watched them win? I have. And if you've worked in any large organizations long enough, you've probably seen this too. Someone speaks early, speaks confidently, and speaks as if the answer is obvious. The room starts moving in that direction. People nod, slides advance, and even if there are better ideas in the room, the discussion is already being shaped by the person who entered first and with the most force. This is one of the most frustrating experiences for thoughtful professionals because the problem is not that they lack insight. The problem is that meetings often reward speed, confidence, and dominance more than depth, accuracy, or reflection. A lot of smart people lose in meetings not because they're less capable. They lose because they misunderstand what a meeting really is. Most people think meetings are for discussion, but many meetings are actually about influence. They are not neutral spaces where the best idea naturally wins. They are social environments. They have power dynamics. They have timing. They have emotion. And they reward people who know how to shape the room. That means if you are thoughtful, careful, or slower to speak, you may already be at a disadvantage, even if your idea is better. I learned this lesson the hard way. I remember being in a meeting where a plan was being discussed with a lot of confidence. On the surface, it sounded clear and decisive. But I had enough experiences with the system to know there was a hidden risk that people were not seeing. I hesitated, partly because I wanted to be precise, partly because I did not want to interrupt too early, and partly because the room already felt committed to the confident voice leading the discussion. By the time I finally found the right opening, the meeting had already moved on. The decision was basically made, and later the project ran into exactly the problem I had seen coming. That experience changed the way I think about leadership, communication, and influence. It also reminded me of something Lao Tzu wrote more than 2,000 years ago. The soft overcomes the hard. At first, that sounds strange in a workplace because modern organizations often appeal to reward the hard, stronger personalities, faster responses, more forceful opinions. But over time, I've realized that soft does not mean weak. Soft means responsive. Soft means observant. Soft means not getting trapped by someone else's emotional tempo. In meetings, the smartest people often lose because they're trying to be correct, while other people are trying to shape the discussion. So, how do you stop losing in meetings if you're thoughtful, calm, and not naturally aggressive? Here are three practical skills. First, stop waiting for the perfect moment. The moment often never comes. If you already see the key issue, say it earlier than feels comfortable. Not rudely, not dramatically, just clearly. Second, don't explain everything at once. This is one of the most mistakes smart people make. They try to give the full background, all the nuances, all the caveats. But in a meeting, long explanations often lose the room. Start with the core point. For example, I see one major risk with this plan, or I think we may be underestimating one dependency. That gets attention. Then you can expand. Third, use questions to slow the room down. You do not always need to challenge people directly. Sometimes the most effective move is a well timed question. For example, what happens if this dependency slips by 2 weeks? Or what assumption are we making here that could fail? A good question can do something powerful. It interrupts momentum without creating unnecessary resistance. That is soft power. You are not overpowering the room. You are changing its direction. This is one of the core ideas behind what I call soft power leadership. Leadership is not just about speaking louder. It is about influencing the system without relying on force. And in meetings, that often means staying calm, seeing clearly, and entering the conversation in a way that shifts thinking. So, if you've ever walked out of a meeting feeling frustrated because you had the insight but not the influence, you are not alone. And you are not powerless. You may simply lead a different model of leadership. Not louder, not harder, but clearer. If you want the deeper essay behind this idea, I've linked it below. Soft power is not weakness, it is influence without force. Thank you for watching and see you next time.